What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me this week is Justin Davis,
Scoop.
Marty Sleva,
Hello.
and Sam Claiborne.
What's up, everybody?
We've got a great show for this week, a huge show for this week. So much news we got to get through. We're going to talk about, of course, all the big games out this week. We're going to talk about the PlayStation Vita.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. It's in the news. It's
What year is it?
It's back in the news, although probably not actually back.
Oh, dang.
But first, Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah.
Might be coming soon to a classroom near you.
What? Damon, do explain.
Allow me to explain. Assassin's Creed Origins is the next game in the Assassin's Creed series, the long-running Assassin's Creed series that is 10 years old.
How many games? 15?
11 years old now?
No one knows.
10 years old, maybe.
A couple DS ones, couple PSP ones.
It's out October 27th. It is set in ancient Egypt, and it has a new mode for the series called Discovery Tour.
Is it like a super hard, like an ultra hard
Yep.
permadeath?
Yeah, it's permadeath.
Yeah,
Turns it into a roguelike. Yeah.
Yeah, a permadeath brutal mode is what they call it. No, Discovery Tour. Now I'll explain. It adds an entirely new game mode that turns the massive recreation of Egypt into a combat-free living museum with guided tours that let
they said about
players
Jurassic Park.
delve into the history firsthand. They were so consumed with trying to decide whether or not they could. That they never
That's it. Yeah, what if those pharaohs break out of their cages? Or the mummies?
There's no mummies yet because they don't become mummies for 1,000 years.
Well, that was a long empire, though.
Yeah.
True. This is
Maybe
the end
they
of
have
the
mummies
Ptolemaic
from the very
Empire.
beginning. And
Young mummies. That's the news. That's the
Young
sequel to the Young
mummies.
Pope.
Maybe the Discovery Tour will finally answer the question of whether or not mummies are zombies. The age-old
To be
question.
honest, probably not going to do that.
Jean Gousdon, creative director on Assassin's Creed
I met him last week.
Origins, said, did you really?
Yeah,
Did he tell you about Discovery Tour?
he did. I don't know.
You've been
I
holding
mean,
out on us.
He said,
Yeah,
"What do you
scoop.
mean? We just started the episode."
tell us all about it, Marty.
He's the best part of
You
the
didn't tell
profession.
us here at IGN about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's because
I
there was an
wanna hear Marty's
embargo, and I
words.
didn't want to bust. I didn't want to bust it. Well, read Sean's words.
He said, this is something we wanted to do for a long time, that we've been asked to do by teachers, by institutions. It's a more educative mode, so it's clearly focused on education. And I'm bringing to people actual facts, more academic knowledge. How does this strike you guys? Did you get to see this mode?
I did get to see it. This is cool. So this is coming as a free update to the game, and it's not coming at launch. It's early 2018.
Yes.
But this is something, like, as someone who's been a big fan of the series since AC1, I've always been like, man, what if they if they stripped away all the combat and all the missions and let you run around Jerusalem or Rome or London? Like, I feel like my mom could run around this game and enjoy it. And so the fact that they're finally doing this thing, and sort of the museum aspect of it reminds me of if you play the commentary modes in like Half-Life or Portal.
Yeah, exactly.
You sort of go to these nodes and then click on them, and then you get narration. So it's almost like being in an actual museum with a walking
You climb
tour.
everything?
I think you can still probably climb everything.
Sir, get down from there.
But they showed like you could choose who your avatar is, so you can be Bayek, who's the main character, or you can be like you could be Cleopatra if you want.
Venice Bayak.
Yeah, Benis Bayek. But then he was learning about mummification, so there was like someone teaching you about the mummification process.
Pulled the brains out through the nose.
Right through the nose.
That's
Spoilers.
in the game?
That is, learning about mummification, learning about Cleopatra, learning about Ptolemy. Ptolemy? It needs a really soft P.
But you can't
Ptolemy.
possibly learn about geography because it's just everything's just in one little city. Right?
Yeah, but
Take
it's
all
like
of Egypt
it
and
is
like,
it is big, but like if you can go to the Sphinx and you can go to the pyramids at Giza and along the Nile.
Yeah. They have to do so much research to get this stuff, relatively. Yeah, I mean, they're taking tremendous liberties with it, as Sam's saying, but to get it relatively accurate, like the more and more realistic games become, like you need to hire an architect to tell you how a building is actually made. You can't just like wing it like you could in previous generations, and you need to have like an expert on like biology and things of that nature to get the human body and the musculature moving right. So if you're doing all that research in ancient Egypt anyway, like if you're going to go into a room in that game and explore a space where someone is mummified, like someone has to figure out how were people mummified. So you might as well pass that knowledge through in a little bit more academic way to people.
Produced making of series for IGN for Assassin's Creed Unity and for Syndicate. Like Unity, I met a woman whose job for a year and a half was making Notre Dame cathedral. That was her job.
Wow.
For
That's
18 months,
so cool.
she was working on that cathedral. And
She was like an artist.
She was an artist, but also a level designer.
And then that game comes out, and people's eyes are bugging
Yeah.
out of their head, and everyone goes, "Bleh,
Yeah. And I'm like,
you
well,
all
she took 18
suck."
months of her life. And then she said, like, she had never been there.
Yeah.
And then after, like, right before the game was shipping, she went there. She just cried when she got there. She's like, this has been a year and a half of my
I
life.
did a
And now-
terrible job.
It's so
If you think about it, that model is just out there somewhere
Yeah.
too, which they could be using.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think-
EA is really good about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. I think Egypt, like all joking aside, is like a really cool subject for this because we see Egypt as this crumbling, what's left there, sandstone monuments, but they were like the pyramids were capped in white stone originally. And like they must have looked remarkable.
Yeah.
Right. And then like, what is it? What is that kind of dusty, dry desert that is around them now? What did that look like when it was a lush, agricultural society? Like that's really appealing to me. And I love how games are doing that. And Egypt is like the one. Like
Yeah.
Athens,
I think so, too.
and Cairo, like,
Yeah.
those would all be like really,
Yeah.
really cool.
Ooh, Greece would be good.
Yeah, Greece would be my second choice.
Yeah, it says Discovery Tour lets players roam the entire game world without constraints or threats, exploring a sprawling landscape that includes Memphis, Alexandria, the Sand Sea, and the Giza Plateau at their own pace. So I guess that's probably a good reasoning for why they're holding this back to early 2018. Because if this was just all open, right from the beginning of the game, it could potentially spoil a lot of the game that you're supposed to
Oh yeah, good.
Yeah.
counter on your own.
Yeah,
Well,
it makes
and I
sense.
wonder, that means they're so confident in the fidelity of like their game world. Like Assassin's Creed Unity, I thought it was fine. I didn't encounter any of the critical bugs other people did. And when you're running through that game world on a mission, chasing someone down, like it's fine. It's very believable, and the crowd depth is incredible. But if you stop, you'll see that a woman's like sweeping nothing, and you just see all kinds of weird. Like you see all the sort of chinks in the armor and like cracks where the facade sort of falls apart a little bit. So for them to let people sort of stop and sit and stare means that they're very confident in, the fidelity of the world they made.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was like a no-brainer for a PSVR or Oculus or something.
I mean, I would love this sort of in just, I don't know, a thing like this in a lot of games of like, have a Call of Duty thing where you can run through a level in Call of Duty World War II and remove the enemies, remove everything, but have it be like, this is what Normandy was like, or this is what the Battle of the Bulge was like.
That's a really good point.
Or even fictional games, not necessarily historical games, but like Middle-earth Shadow of War. Something you can walk around to explore the Tolkien universe, the Middle-earth
I can
universe.
get behind that.
Fictional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Middle Earth. This reminds me, I know, and not everything has to be about pinball, but in the pinball arcade, it takes old pinball games and remakes them into 3D. And one of the great things that it does when you can do that is it makes the best out there possible tutorials about pinball because it takes the game camera and it goes through like a 200-step tutorial about all the rules, and it like flies around and kind of shows you all the stuff. And like sans somebody taking the glass off a game and pointing out each thing, you're never going to get that in your life. You can read a FAQ about it.
Yeah.
You can watch a guy play in video, but like this is a good way to do it. It like flashes each light, it shows the shot. Like it's really
it's
cool.
cool.
So games can stop and do something different with those 3D environments.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
It's really neat.
VR, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is also,
it makes
if
sense,
there's
huh?
VR integrated
Yeah,
in
I hope
this
so.
experience.
Yeah, that could be cool. The Discovery Tour is coming to Assassin's Creed Origins early 2018. I am on board. I remain excited about this Assassin's Creed. Everything, all signs point to looking good. Let's go over what's out this week. We are, I don't know if it's fair to say we're in the midst of the fall.
I think we're
holiday
there.
rush. I was going to say the boulders started rolling down the hill. It's not the full speed yet.
With Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe that October 27th day with Assassin's
no.
Creed Origins.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Mario
that's a
Odyssey,
crazy day.
Wolfenstein 2.
But
That's,
SNES
Jigsaw.
Classic and stuff this week.
maybe that's
We
when
have a lot.
the boulder hits the poor town.
Are we the town?
Yes, we are the town. Big games out this week, of course. FIFA 18.
Kicky.
fall
They
game.
call it Kicky over there.
When I like
Kicky 18 and to our friends in the UK.
That's what Gav calls it.
I'm one of my passions for following the video game industry. I love tracking NPD sales every month, and I love sales data. So recently, I shared NPD sales results for August, and I just today posted digital sales data just for August. And people are always confused because FIFA 17 is on there for August. A
Because
month,
the Ultimate Team stuff, right?
a month
It
before.
was selling that well.
Yeah,
last
a month before FIFA 18 comes out. Yeah, and it's not an error. It's true. Like that's just how popular this game is, and I think it starts
Yeah.
about this time of year, it starts like becoming popular again.
Yeah, we see the numbers on IGN, especially like on YouTube, like those videos. Anything we put up on FIFA, that's gangbusters.
I think in the case of FIFA specifically, it's the Ultimate Team minigame
Yeah.
is driving a lot of revenue 12 months a year.
Kicky fever.
Kicky Fever.
Yeah.
Kicky Fever. Also out this week on PlayStation 4, Firefighters, Airport Fire
Oh
Department.
no! What?
Oh boy.
Yeah,
That was a little bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Firefighters Airport Fire Department.
that's
They
the
put out
name.
airport fires.
So
Is there a department just for
It's
airport
firefighters-
fires?
I'm sure there are firefighters at the airport. Yeah.
But
You better-
exclusively?
Yes. If there's a fire at the airport, they don't want someone coming in all the way from a fire station like miles away.
Why?
Because airports are huge. Think about it. An airport is
Also-
much bigger than any like neighborhood. So if your neighborhood is a fire, like it's ostensibly a town.
they call it.
I'm skeptical.
Why are you
They
skeptical?
call them duty-free towns.
Yeah, exactly. Just play the game. Just this is an
sure,
educational experience.
This is the second game that's coming to a classroom near you. Firefighters, Airport Fire Department. Sam, it's Firefighters : Airport Fire Department. So ostensibly, there are other games in the Firefighter series.
Like Firefighters Kicky.
Right. Well,
Safety department. There's probably stadium. There are firefighters, I bet, at every stadium. Yes, I guarantee AT&T Park has its own firefighters.
Firefighter
any
series.
situation where there's that concentration of
Yeah.
people.
You don't.
But what are you talking
I bet
about? It's a
E3
million people
I bet
in San
I bet
Francisco.
E3 has its own firefighters.
And San Francisco also has its own fire station.
yeah,
Yeah,
Several.
but
I
not
live
like,
next to one.
but they're spread out, right?
They're spread out. But you know how big is the airport?
No, but
That is
listen,
bigger than any neighborhood. in
If
San
there's a fire at the airport, why do the firefighters need to be there faster than if there's a fire at the mall?
No, they just need to be
Are
there.
you saying like what's
and
so
available.
special about
But I'm just
airports?
saying,
Yeah.
they're
I think it's like the jet fuel situation.
See now that makes a
no.
little
Get
more
your
sense.
finger out of there. Put it away. put it away.
I don't know who to side with here, but I
Nobody.
know there's a lot of flammable stuff at airports.
Look, there's a video game called Firefighters Airport Fire Department. So obviously there is such a thing as an airport fire department.
Yeah, but there's a
can't-
game
you can't
called
make
Mega
this
Man
stuff-
Soccer.
You can't make this stuff
Mega
up.
Man Kicky.
out of our 600,000 or however many podcast subscribers, there's like 8 airport firefighters right now that are so mad.
We matter. All right, so look for that on PlayStation 4. Also out this week is Hob.
From the developers of Torchlight.
Torchlight 1 and Torchlight 2, which are very cool, Diablo-esque,
Yeah.
Diablo-likes, if you will.
A little bummed we didn't get Torchlight 3 instead, but Hob does look really cool.
Yeah, I do really like Torchlight.
Yeah, Hobbs a little bit more like Zelda, I'd say. Yeah, it's a action puzzle platformer.
Yeah.
Can you climb shit?
Yeah, you can climb all sorts. You can climb whatever you want. It has its own
That may
fire.
not-
They have their own fire department.
Yeah. I
No,
don't-
you have a climbing. You have like a climbing arm.
Yes, but I don't think you can climb everything.
I'm talking about old Zelda, not new Zelda.
Old world Zelda.
All right.
I don't know about platforms. I think it's out on. I know it's coming to consoles and PC. I don't know if it's all hitting all at once.
I think it's PS4, Xbox, and PC, not Switch.
Also out this week is Sinran Kakura, Peach Beach Splash.
Peach Beach Splash.
We got the special edition version of that game in the office, and we were talking about how this might be a thing that if we sit on it, might be worth hundreds of dollars soon because that probably
Yeah.
is like limited to like
That might be
1,000
a rare
copies.
game, but it's
Yeah.
like a big rare or special edition version.
Yeah.
It's just the regular. I
Yeah.
think that would be a rare game at some point.
Yeah.
So this
Well-
is the game that's like it's like Splatoon.
You think a lot of
but
people
with,
buy them?
with
No,
the girls.
so like these games,
I was gonna
they've
say-
made a lot of these games, but they don't sell very many copies.
That's why they'll be rare.
That's why I think they just announced recently. It's something like this. I'm paraphrasing data here, but they're like the Sinran Kagura series has reached 500,000 copies sold. It's something like that.
And you're like,
Like
you've made
for
30 of
there's been
them.
yeah, there's been so many games in the series. So
Yeah.
not the audience for this is not that big.
Is this, and I apologize if I'm wrong, is this one of the Naked Lady games? One of those weird
yeah,
Naked Lady
it's
not
games?
naked.
it's a water gun game.
Not
It's-
naked.
It's
Scantily-
wet
Don't-
t-shirt.
don't
wet.
stop
No, this
it.
was a super
Stop.
soaker. This was a
Stop.
super soaker.
This
It reminds me of
the Ninja
Splatoon
Girls-
because it's a wet t-shirt shooter.
Yep, it's the ninja girls that can't keep
Yeah.
their clothes on, taking a break from the ninjing to go have some fun at the beach
Yeah.
with their water guns.
Yeah.
It's that
I
game.
wish we could remember there was the slogan for that game.
Oh,
They
it was
just
very
know-
bad.
So there's like 15,000 people just in America that will just buy it every time, and
Yeah,
they
I
just
think
keep,
so.
They just keep making them happy.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyway, it's an investment, I think.
Maybe. Well, what comes
like
in the special
Bitcoin.
edition? Is there like a towel,
Doesn't
beach
matter.
towel?
It's just rare.
Also out this week is Vrog.
Yeah,
Wait,
virtual frog. It's a VR game where you're a frog.
Did you just
I
sneeze?
love
What are
the
you?
idea.
Here's the actual description. Be a frog.
Whoa.
Your PSVR is your window to the Vrog world, allowing you to see through the eyes of a frog.
Sold.
Leap your way across the beautiful pond and see what's on the menu.
Cool. It's
It's
bugs.
flies. Wow. God, we didn't say spoilers. We always do that.
It's other frogs.
Oh no, twist.
SteamWorld Dig 2 comes to other platforms. It was out on Switch last week. Now it's out everywhere.
Rules.
My backlog now.
Yeah.
That game, you know what it's coming to? Vita.
Yeah, there's another Vita game. I told you we'd be talking about Vita.
Yeah.
It's back in the news.
Is that what we were going to say? That's it?
No, there's
No,
more.
there is other Vita news. I'm so excited to play SteamWorld Dig 2, but I want to finish Mario plus Rabbids.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to what I'm playing. Totally War Warhammer 2 is out this week.
Totally war. Like totally.
We gave it a 9.1.
The reviewer called it the
amazing.
best Total War game ever made.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's better than Total War Rome.
Yeah, or partial war.
Yeah.
A4.
Napoleon.
Jokes aside, this game does look really cool. It's like huge
It's
armies
good
where you
look.
can, you know, it's
Like a really nice map.
strategy game with huge armies, and you can zoom. You can go way up high, zoom right down to the ground level of the battles.
The whole thing with Total War is it's always been like it's half civilization. So there's a world map where it's like turn-based things where you're moving things around. But then when the armies smash together, it descends down into like real-time combat. Then it's like an RTS. So it's like your army versus theirs, and you're moving units around, and then it goes back up into the turn-based mode.
There are lizard men.
Yeah, because this is Warhammer.
Yeah.
This is not history.
Oh, I was
Like in the
totally thinking
Shogunate?
of Rome, and I'm like, what? They need to consult the Assassin's Creed team.
And I hardly can believe I'm saying this, but Cuphead is out this week.
Yeah, we
actually have it here in the
We have it in
office.
the office. We streamed it earlier.
Streamed it
It's
earlier?
real.
It's a real game.
Pronounced Cuffed?
No,
Fed.
Yeah, PH.
Fed.
Cuphead.
It's actually a PH.
Yeah.
Nobody knew.
Wow, I already said FIFA 18. It's on my list twice. It's how did it sneak in there twice?
Ah, classic Kiki.
Cinemora X is on Switch, and Cinemora was a
Is this a sequel or
2D shooter.
Yeah.
Gradius
From
style?
it was
Shoot 'em up.
produced by Suda51.
Yeah, by Grasshopper.
By Grasshopper, yes. sorry.
Came to consoles several
Yeah.
years ago. It's very cool. It's very good. This is the EX version. It's coming to Switch.
You reviewed it, right?
Yeah.
One of the last games Damon reviewed. Well, you're reviewing a few more now.
What are you talking about?
but-
Did you just review a game?
But I
this
mean,
week?
for
Yep.
several years,
It was back from when I was reviewing.
yeah.
Is it
Games
top
very
down or
regularly.
side
No,
scrolling?
side
Side
It's side scrolling.
Wow.
Yeah,
Is it a good game then?
it's very pretty.
Yeah.
Very
I,
good.
I, I should probably try that.
And it has a time manipulation mechanic.
Cool.
Seemed like it's a good fit for
rewindy
Switch.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yep.
Beautiful,
Favorite
Joe.
mechanic.
Yeah.
And the SNES Classic is out this week, which means
I have one in my pocket.
Which
Whoa,
means
boys! What?
with it comes Star Fox 2.
What?
You were just sitting on this the whole time.
It actually fit.
That's
in my
like
jean
George
pocket.
Costanza's wallet. Like,
You
It's
just keep
pocket
it.
gaming, guys.
You didn't even know we were going to talk about it on the show. You just in case.
I
have one in my
sure
pocket.
he had a good idea we were going to talk about it on the show.
Wow.
Our review of the console is up by
Yeah.
Jonathan Dornbush. 8.5, I
8.5.
believe we get it. A
Yeah.
great 0.5.
he said, incredible lineup, some of the greatest games of all time, but still some of the same limitations of the original, which is to go to the home screen, you have to physically hit the button on the console, and then the cord length, while a little bit longer, 5 feet is still not incredibly long.
Yeah, it's crazy that after all the complaints about the crazy short cord length, they just made it marginal.
Or you just make a wireless. What if you just make a wireless?
It's like, what is this thing? $80, $70?
$80.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like, give people like a 9-foot cord. Just give them the cord. Just like eliminate any need for anyone to ever have to complain about that.
The reset button is really silly too.
Yeah.
But man,
Yeah, you should
I
be
think
able to,
it's the best collection of games ever officially
Yeah,
released.
I agree
Just
with
make it
that.
a combination of buttons that you press to reset to the.
That's actually a pretty good way to think about it. Is this the greatest game compilation ever made?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what else could it possibly be?
Yeah, I mean, there's really cool game collections for like kind of pre 16-bit systems. There's like I really like the Namco collections. Those are good.
those are
Midway had a really good series of arcade collections, but those are arcade games, and like this has
Well, so-
Final Fantasy VI, which is
There was a
better than all of those arcade games.
Yeah.
You know,
There was a really good Sega Genesis collection on last gen consoles.
yeah, that was really good. The Ultimate
Sonic's Ultimate Genesis collection, I think that one was.
That worked out really well.
That was really, really good. Had many more games also. And the Orange Box. Fewer games.
Orange Box
but
is
a good
good.
point. That's a really good
very,
point.
very good.
Mega Man
game
collection was
compilation.
really good.
Mega Man Legacy. Actually, there's been, before our current Mega Man Legacy 1 and 2, there was also a Mega Man collection on
Anniversary collection.
Yeah, the
Yeah, but
anniversary
it's-
collection.
on GameCube, it switched. the
That was
Yeah.
the worst. That like I wanted to break my disc in half.
It was so silly that they did
so
that.
bad.
There's also, of course, Super Mario All Stars, which is good.
Yeah, and the one that had also had Mario World in it.
That one is the definitive version.
Yeah.
of those. You got Super Mario 3 on your shirt right now.
I think
The Bay Area version.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Oh, I'd never picked up on that before.
Have you seen the Mario Kart Rainbow Road map that's made out of our BART? BART is our subway.
Oh yeah, that's really cute.
That system, because we have different colored lines that are rainbow for our subway. So there's this cool picture of.
Yeah.
I think we can still get away with it because the SNES Mini is not a cart. I think the Super Mario All-Stars with Super Mario World is the greatest game cartridge ever made.
Talked about that here before.
What about
Easy,
Earthbound?
yeah.
Number 2, Earthbound.
Just Earthbound.
Earthbound's a little
you like,
divisive in the comments for this. I think there's a Earthbound
Haters?
squad, yeah.
I'm gonna ban them. I'm gonna ban all of them. Just ban.
But with Earthbound, Final Fantasy, and Mario RPG, those are all like just massive games.
And Link to the
they
Past
cost
and
like $80
Metroid.
when they came out.
Yeah.
I didn't think I wanted
Yeah,
one of
I've
these,
heard with the
and I've changed my mind.
Well, we'll see how readily they are available now. It's
Yeah.
actually out on
We see
Friday.
maybe Sam has a second one in his other pocket. There's no
Give
way
me a
to know
minute.
it.
You get an SNES Classic, and you get an.
I hope we can all just buy them on Friday. Nintendo
would be
seems
nice.
to think they were getting to that point.
It would be nice.
Really great. I love that.
You know, our review for this is up now on IGN, YouTube. I'm shocked at how many people in the comments are asking if the cartridge slot works.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have not
boy.
been paying attention.
But it did. But it did
small
work on the Genesis you reviewed.
Totally different thing.
Yeah. It's just I'm just saying it's possible.
Yeah, but then it's like you must not have been paying attention to what the NES Classic was either.
This is smaller than a cart.
I don't think there's a portion of this where you could slide a card
There's
into.
no
Maybe in the side.
nowhere for it to fit.
be
But
tough.
with this
Diagonally.
comes the release 27 years later of 26 years later
27.
of Star Fox
1995.
2,
That's not
Yep.
which you reviewed.
27 years at all. 22 years.
Oh yeah, 22 years. Yeah.
You're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've admitted I'm terrible at
I
math.
thought you were just gonna be like, I've been drinking.
I've admitted before that I am often half in the bag when we record this show.
Yeah, it's true. No. Sam reviewed Star Fox 2.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah. I've been fielding a lot of questions about that review. So if you guys have any of them, feel free to ask them right now. Here's one. Why do you guys review this in the context of 2016? 2017, sorry. We're totally off numbers wise today. I don't really know what that means. So for me, that game never came out, and so we get to review it now. I think that's really fun. Also, it was canceled, which means that there was something wrong with that game. And I looked up a great interview with Dylan Cuthbert, who worked on the game with Kotaku, where he said Miyamoto came in the room one day and said, this game, in its complete state, when we see it against our competitors' 3D, which is like PlayStation 1 and Saturn even at that time, it just doesn't hold up, and we shouldn't release this. And it just has some quality problems, right? It's like really framey and it's really hard to play. That's what they said then, right? So even if I reviewed that game then, it seems like it was kind of a mess when it was and it was canceled. So after it was canceled, we waited a long time, and now it's out, and like it's preserved for all of history to play, which is super amazing. But it doesn't make it any more playable. And in fact, like just even if it ran well, and it would still be hard to play with the Super Nintendo controller because we're talking about 3D worlds, like not on rails. That's a big difference people don't realize. Star Fox 1 is on rails entirely. This game has places where you sit down on a walker and walk around a 3D environment, and it doesn't turn as fast as you. Like, it's so slow, and it's so hard to play those parts. And then when you're in space, those are open too. And if you think about that, you need to have like a mini map that shows things are above and behind you. And you guys have probably played Rogue Squadron. Like that takes a lot of work. On a Super Nintendo controller, you cannot do that. You have a D-pad and nothing else. So like it uses, on the ground, it uses the L and R buttons to turn left and right, which is really clever. I think that's really cool. But in space, like you're just smashing the D-pad in a direction and hoping something's above or below you in the right way. It's crazy. Like it's not meant to, it just can't work.
It's hard to reconcile sort of the three, like, it's really, really cool that this historical curio is now available to the world to play. And it's really, really impressive that they had it running on a Super Nintendo at all. Like, it's a feat of engineering and just expertise. But reconciling that with, well, none of that makes it like fun. Like none of that makes it like this is a fun, high quality video game. So, I take away that from your review.
Yeah,
But
you guys all kind of watched it over the shoulder
Yeah,
too.
I loved watching it.
Yeah.
Like,
There's nobody in the office that walked by and were like, "This is better than I thought it would look."
well, it, like
Like,
yeah,
it
we all
looks awful.
like we all had two thoughts. We're like, man, it's so cool and so crazy. We're playing Star Fox 2, and look at how cool it is that this is running on Super Nintendo. And then like the second thing is like, oh boy, this is not a game that I want to like play for any extended period of time.
It's hard to watch, but it's a little easier to wrap your head around when you play it. And I beat it on hard. I played it like I think I was playing pretty well by the end of it. I knew what I was doing. I knew I'd kind of exploit the engine, the slowdown, and stuff like that to make it work. But even though I like rated it, a 5 because I don't think it's very playable, I still think it's like magnificently beautiful. I love it. And like, I know Damon was standing next to me during some of this. We had watched, there's like cutscenes in the game. And the cutscenes are like, they didn't have cutscenes in Star Fox. They have like the intro maybe, and like a few other things. This has like pre-rendered, not pre-rendered, they're not even pre-rendered. They're probably an engine. They have like a giant spaceship coming out of warp, and then like a bunch of spaceships like coming out of it.
there's a big dragon.
And then there's like, dialogue during it, a big space dragon. And it's all done just like you would do in a game today.
Yeah.
On the Super Nintendo with like a big 3D cutscene.
Yeah.
It's so cool. But those big blocky things, they don't work well when you're playing with a controller.
Yeah. I mean, you'll be vindicated once people play it for themselves. I mean, the question about why review it in the context of 2017, it is 2017. Like, in what other context are you supposed to review something?
And gosh, Super Metroid holds up pretty good
Yeah.
in 2017.
So does Link to
Super
the Past.
Mario World,
Yep.
Link to the Past. Those
I mean,
are all
that's
10s
exactly
for me.
even in the context of it appearing, on a collection of these other games. That makes you realize why you can't really give something like Star Fox 2 a hard pass when like some of those other 20-plus-year-old games are still some of the greatest games of all time and don't feel any less playable. Like, that's the difference between like the 16-bit generation and the 8-bit generation. I have nostalgia for 8-bit games, so I can go back to them and play them. But divorcing like my own personal experience from it, those games are clunkier and more obtuse and harder to play, whereas the 16-bit games I think are really eternal and will be around.
Yeah. I mean, that's what that generation was sort of all about, refinement.
Yeah.
No, I love retro games. I love checking out old games, especially obscure stuff on arcade, like Game Gear and Atari Lynx and all that stuff. But more often than not, my experience is more like, this is awesome and weird. It's so cool that I'm checking this out, but it's not a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would,
more often
or,
than not,
and would
that
you
is the
come into
experiment.
work and recommend it to a bunch of
Yeah.
people? Like, that's a test that a game has to pass
Yeah.
for me, right? And man, that collection, like I said this in my review, that's the worst game in the collection, and it's a canceled game.
Yeah,
that
it's like
makes
there was-
total sense. That's fine. But there's games in that collection that hold up, and if I reviewed them today, I'd give them a 10.
Yeah.
And there's games in that collection which I'd give 5s to, and like I don't think Mario Kart holds
Well, I
up.
was about to say, what do you think the second worst? Mario Kart?
Mario Kart,
Kirby
and
Street
like
Course?
I love F-Zero, but like it doesn't work very well as a racing game now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, F-Zero and Mario Kart, I have a tremendous amount of love for the 16-bit versions, but they got better over time, right?
And even that alone is like not a great way to evaluate a game, but like, do the controls work? Like for some of this, they don't. They don't really work really well. The D-pad is not great for things that are even simulating 3D. But man, it's good for 2D games.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to have it. Like that's so cool. When you play Yoshi's Island, you're like, playing this on analog stick would suck.
Yeah.
It's great to play this on a Super Nintendo controller, and that's what's so great about this system.
In the Systems Mini, the controller is pretty much a one-to-one replica of the original.
Feels great.
Yeah. I love that controller.
Good controller.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the last big game out this week, Ruiner, which is the very difficult game that I was alluding to last week. I ended up giving it a 6 out of 10.
One commenter nailed it, by the way.
Oh, what was that?
You said guess the game.
That's cool.
Oh, one actually did?
Ruiner?
Oh, I didn't see that. No, everyone was guessing Cuphead.
Yeah.
Which was incorrect, yeah. But it
been
that was also a very good guess.
Yeah.
No, it's too bad. It's a very cool, slick-looking synthwave cyberpunk top-down shooter game. So it seems like a very damey game, but it just turned out the gameplay didn't quite hit the sweet spot for me. Like I talked about how it's very difficult. It's like punishingly difficult, exhaustingly difficult. I talked about it in my review, and like, I don't mind a challenge. Games can certainly be difficult. That's not like, it's like the difficulty isn't the selling point for me though. Actually, like the game needs to be fun and enjoyable. And if the difficulty is like it's like
odds
this
with
is
that,
me
yeah.
and this is the fun, and the difficulty is like, hey, how's it going? That's when it becomes a problem for me. So that one didn't quite work out for me.
Yeah. Aesthetically, it's so cool, though.
That's why
It's
it's
so
It's got a
to
really
watch.
cool style, yeah, and I really like the
It
music.
doesn't change much though, right?
No, it's very samey. There's like 14 levels, and you could look at any of them, and you can't really see a progression through like different.
There's like this like
environments.
dismemberment engine when you kill enemies, where they like blow apart.
It's a very like brutal, violent game, and like the enemies die appropriately depending on what type of weapon you're using, whether it's a gun or a flamethrower or explosives or like a laser, and they disintegrate, or just their skeletons will fall to the ground. So I like all of that.
Good stuff.
I didn't enjoy being like just locked in room after room after room, just swarms and swarms of enemies. Oh, you died. Well, I guess I'll try again. Oh, died. Well,
Are skeletons zombies?
Well, not unless they're reanimated.
Well, the same with mummies,
No.
right?
No, skeletons aren't zombies.
Same with mummies, right? If they're reanimated, are they then zombies?
If they were zombies, we'd call them zombies.
So mummies aren't zombies,
No.
but they're the dead reanimated.
That's fine.
Zombies have to be from the Caribbean.
So what's a zombie?
A zombie is a zombie. That's why we have separate words for
But if you were going to describe a zombie without using the word zombie, what would you say?
All right, so this is like you're
Walking Dead.
You're catching me in a trap where I'm going to say the reanimated dead, and you're going to say, but that's what a mummy is.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's a family of undead, of which there's zombies and there's reanimated skeletons and there's mummies, and they're all
What
under
about Draculas?
they're all under and Dracula.
What about Frankenstein's?
And they're all under the umbrella of undead.
Yeah.
So skeletons, they have to have some kind of magic holding them together.
Right.
That's a good point. Zombies
if-
just have to have flesh.
Okay, so what if you got a zombie? So zombies coming towards you. You have identified it as a zombie.
Yeah.
What if we wrap it up? What if we hold it down and we wrap it up?
What if
Or a
you
skeleton.
What if you burn all of the skin off the zombie?
Yeah.
What are you looking at me for? I don't have any
I don't
answers
know.
for you, man.
I don't know, mister. The airport doesn't have its own fire department.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
So Ruiner is what I've been playing lately. It is time to share what we've been playing. But along with Ruiner, I also finally started Destiny 2.
It was
And
nice knowing you.
No, I mean it's totally fun.
How are you playing it?
I've been playing it by myself.
Yeah, what's that like?
It's been fine so far.
Just a story mode.
I think I'm level 7, level 8. So
Yeah, you could play all the way through the campaign
Several
by
hours
yourself.
into it, yeah, so it's like-
to level 20 to the cap, just fine by yourself.
That's my
how I played.
intention. And to be fair, we get the benefit of getting mini games through work that we don't have to pay $60 for. But my intention is to play that game like a single player, like go through the campaign. And
You can
do all
totally
the
do that just
strikes
fine.
And then put it down. I don't think it's going to be like a lifestyle game in the way that World of Warcraft is for
Yeah.
a lot of people.
yeah, it's a totally beautiful game. I'm sure I'm just like telling
You understand
people
what's going on?
what they know. Yeah, there's actually a story with real stakes. And
Yeah,
like
and then interesting characters, yeah.
and then of course the gunplay is super satisfying.
Cool.
Yeah, it's totally enjoyable. I'm on board.
Yeah, I've been playing a ton of Destiny, which really surprised me because I didn't care about the first one. Like I did the IGN first for us, but I never touched it after that. But I'm a huge old school Bungie fan. Like I love Halo 1 through 3 and Reach and ODST. And so I jumped in this, and the shooting feels incredible as you expect from Bungie. I really did enjoy the story and the worlds you go to. And I'm having a lot of fun post game. Like I did the first half of the raid over the weekend. That was the first time like I really did something where I ended up communicating. And it was like, we're fortunate enough to just know a bunch of people who play the game. So we were able to play it with a bunch of coworkers or ex-coworkers.
Do you get some goods to carry you through?
Did I get some goods to carry me through? Well, the problem was
Goods, I mean good players. Sorry.
yeah. We had, I think half of the team had already beaten the raid.
Like, because that's what they call it, backpacking, where it's like, man, I am not that
Yeah.
great at this
Well,
game.
my
Just
thing is,
carry me on
what I
through
realized
the
is
raid.
all the stuff in the raid where you had to use your noggin,
Yeah.
I'm really good at. But then when you had to shoot things, I'm like, oh, I'm bad at this.
Yeah.
Turns out I'm not as good as everyone else at shooting things.
You
Yeah.
completed the raid?
No, we did it. We split it over 2 nights. We played 6 hours and beat half of it, and then they ended up finishing it without me on Monday because I had to work Monday night.
Do you get cred for that?
I didn't get any credit. Well, I have keys to where I think if I go back to the raid, I can get some cool objects in the basement. But every Tuesday, the game resets, and so I'm no longer
missed it,
halfway
yeah.
through the raid. Yeah.
That's
And
really interesting.
I should also point out that even if you are playing by yourself, there is still like a multiplayer cooperative
Oh, yeah.
component to it because you just encounter other
people
people.
jump in.
It's
There are public
like-
events
those
and
public
like
events are super exciting. When
it's
all
like,
of a sudden,
whoa,
yeah,
these guys are trying to take this big thing down. I'm coming to help you guys.
And everyone gets shared
Yeah,
rewards.
and everyone
at the
gets
end of
shared
it.
rewards,
Yeah,
and then you just continue on whatever mission you're on.
Yeah.
It's cool.
good game.
I can go
Justin.
next. I am playing Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yes.
It's a PC RPG in the classic computer RPG style. I played a little bit of Divinity 1 and really, really liked it on like a systems level, like the combat and like the world. But the story was too goofy. Like it was a borderline comedy, how little it took itself
Yeah.
seriously.
I liked that part of it, but it's
And the
lighthearted.
sequel is much better written. It still actually, has moments of levity and has comedy relief, but it's done in like, this is like a comedy relief moment or character. And then the story itself is a lot richer and more fully featured. I was kind of on the fence. I mean, I just like the game enough to play it every night, but I was trying to decide, like, do I really, really like this game? Am I really into it? And I had a moment last night where totally sold me on it. One of those little moments. You have many dialogue responses that you can give people based off your class or your stats or, whatever. And this game goes above and beyond most. Like, sometimes what you're wearing, people will respond to you differently. Sometimes if you have an item in your inventory, you can just be like, oh, I have that. Here you go. Like, you can just give them the thing. It knows what's in your inventory. And I had one where I loot everything, and sometimes you loot body parts. So I had a foot, and I have some severed heads and some hands and just some stuff in my inventory. And I had an opportunity to give a crazy man a severed leg that he was after. And the dialogue option was like, it's like in asterisk. It's like you realize in horror that he's talking about the severed leg that you're carrying in your inventory for completely innocent reasons. And I just thought it was so cool that the game recognized that and lampshaded and called out the fact that it's completely insane, like the inventory systems in RPGs, and then it rewarded sort of my OCD take anything that's not nailed down system.
I love that. Everyone who's playing it's been raving about it. We gave it like a 9.7, I think.
We gave that a very high
yeah,
score.
and GameSpot gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Which it's actually, to be super clear, if you're willing to wait, like to me, this will be a really, really perfect holiday break game. Not just because it's like an 80-hour game, but because it does get a little bit buggy and shaky towards the end.
Oh, do you think they're...
Well, I mean, the game's whole thing is, I almost hate to say it because every game is like player choice. But this one like really is player choice in the way that like you kill a character in like hour 8 and then it changes like hour 80 of that game. And it fulfills that promise to a really, really impressive degree, but it can also kind of like break down sometimes. Like as you get to the end of the game, like it's obvious that they didn't really count for like every single permutation.
Sure.
So if someone's willing to wait for a patch or two and then enjoy one of the greatest computer RPGs of the decade.
This is PC only, right?
PC only for now.
Okay.
But it has full controller support and the original Divinity came
Does it have
with console.
PS4 support?
It does not have PS4.
Okay, that's how
I'm just saying I'm playing on my PC on my couch with an Xbox controller.
I think it was the definitive edition of the first game came to consoles. So I
relatively
assume that'll happen.
Yeah,
Cool.
since
Yeah.
the
Maybe
controller
next year.
support is already baked in and like integrated into the UI
Nice.
and everything else, and
think it'd be
because the original came to console,
pretty
this
easy
will
port?
come to console at some point.
Doesn't seem like there's stuff in it that couldn't come to console.
Sure.
Like it's not all key.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Cool.
It's really good. All right, Sam.
Did you already do yours?
Yeah, it's been
He said
Destiny, and then I'm excited to jump into Cuphead.
Oh man.
Bang my head against the wall.
About
Cry.
Well, first of all, I played like the first 15 minutes of Final Fantasy 6 again in that NES Classic Collection, and like
It's a good video game.
were I not at work, I would have wept like a baby.
Music's so good.
So
Yeah.
beautiful, and what an amazing intro to that game. Like if I could just withdraw from life and play Final Fantasy 6 again, I would. Like what a wonderful experience that was the first time around, and to have that in that collection is really, really
Also, the emulation on this thing is...
it looks so good.
Yeah.
But I've been playing.
Is 2 on there? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No,
No,
it's
it's not.
just 6.
Yeah.
3.
There's a SteamWorld Dig 2 I've been playing. That's what I've been playing the most of. I'm like really addicted to it right now, and I'm just kind of over the hump of like I might be past the point where I'm like hopelessly thinking about it all the time. But it's a Metroidvania this time around, which I wouldn't have called it before
No.
because you mainly just dug
More of a-
downwards and did stuff. In this, you pass things that you know you can't get into, and you go sideways a lot as much as you go down, which is cool. And then you get some new attachments and weapons and stuff like that are like really platform based. And I guess I just won't spoil it for people, but yeah, it's just a lot more mobility, and it makes it like a really good Metroid style game.
Nice.
It's really cool. And that game is like for people that like that loop where you're just digging and collecting and buying something, an upgrade, and then you're like, oh, I'm just gonna do a little bit more to get this upgrade, do a little bit more to get this upgrade. It's just the best at that.
Yeah.
I'm having more fun with it than I had with Metroid.
With the new Metroid?
Yeah.
Wow.
Underrated thing about SteamWorld Dig 2 is its logo. I know it's weird. It's just, I think it's really great. I think it's like one of the best video game logos.
Oh, interesting. That's funny.
That studio does great work. The first SteamWorld is great. SteamWorld Heist
Heist is fun.
Is really good.
And that was a very different type of game.
That's a turn-based strategy game.
Yeah.
But very cool.
Another thing I'm excited
Really
to
impressive.
play this weekend, I think it comes out on Friday. A bunch of people have been playing it in the office, is Golf Story.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I hope that's cool.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah. I know it looks gorgeous. Like it looks,
Yeah.
yeah. I know.
cool 16-bit style graphics
Yeah.
for it. Is SteamWorld on? It's on PS4 also, right?
Yeah,
This-
and
this-
Vita
this
and
week,
Switch.
right?
Yeah.
Which is so cool. Like that means it's more widely available.
everything, I think,
Yeah.
Because I think the first one was just on 3DS, and then it was on.
It came to other stuff.
No,
like
it's on
months
everything
later.
now.
It was 3DS first, and then like I played it on Steam, for example.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope a lot of people play it. It's just totally worth your time.
Awesome.
Well, along with all these new games that are coming out each month, older games are resurfaced on the PlayStation Plus and Xbox Games with Gold programs. And the
Doozies.
PlayStation Plus next month
So amazing.
gets an incredible game. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain is free for PlayStation Plus subscribers next month.
When I saw this morning, I was very tired and had my coffee. I assumed it was Ground Zeroes. I
Yeah.
was like, Metal Gear 5. I'm like, this has to be Ground Zeroes, which is
They
like
already
the first.
did that one.
I think they did it right before Phantom Pain came out. And I was like, this is not only one of the best games of 2015, but one of the best games of the generation, and legitimately 100 hours of like
Hope you can get through it.
masterpiece gameplay.
Perfect
Yeah.
gameplay.
Yeah.
Totally incomprehensible story. Perfect gameplay.
I didn't really like it that much.
I like it.
You're not a Metal Gear boy.
I'm not a Metal Gear boy. I
We
was
used
Metal
to get
Gear.
in trouble for talking about this so much on GameScoop. It was that type of game.
Yeah.
Remember that?
It's so good.
We'll be like,
really,
stop
really
talking
good.
about Metal
It's
Gear.
would you deny though that Justin, that's a pretty good game to get for free?
No, it's an incredible game to get for free.
Also, it's just one of those like, man, it's October just got really busy because I'm like, well, I have all these. I want to play Shadow of War and I want to play Wolfenstein. I want to play Assassin's Creed, but oh man, what if I go back and play this? I don't even know why I'm excited
Or
for this
Final
because I
Fantasy
own the
3.
game.
Yeah.
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 It's so good. Also on PlayStation Plus is the Amnesia collection,
Yeah.
which is
Spookies.
I don't know how many are in that collection.
I believe it's 2. It's Amnesia: The Dark Descent and Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs.
Wow, man.
Both games are pretty good. Yeah. Number 1
Horror
is
games.
very scary. Number 2 is more interesting than scary.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Horror games appropriate for the month of October.
Mm-hmm.
And then over on Games with Gold, Gone Home, which is also probably appropriate for this time of year.
I kept thinking that a skeleton was going to come out,
I thought
Yeah.
or like a wolf.
That haunted house that you're in.
it has elements of a ghost story.
Yeah.
The Turing Test is in Games with Gold. I'm not sure what anyone knows.
It was like Portal. It's a
Portal, oh.
Yeah, it's a first-person puzzle game where you go from like sort of room to room, but it's this really interesting dialogue you have with an AI that is starting to become self-aware, but then that sort of folds into the gameplay itself.
Is it good?
It's good. It's not as good as Portal, but I think I reviewed it and gave it a 7 something. I think. Yeah,
Remember Quantum Conundrum?
I do.
Yes,
Kim
that was a
Swift's
good game.
game.
I
Yeah.
feel like there's a feature on games that are really good but didn't get as much attention as they deserve because it's like an inferior version of something else.
Sure.
Like I don't think there's anyone that would say Quantum Conundrum is better than Portal. So I think a
it's
lot of people have the attitude of like, why bother?
Yeah.
But it's still like if Portal didn't exist, people would be like, oh man, Quantum Conundrum's great.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe that's not a feature. Like what's like I don't know, maybe B tier like platformers or something like that.
Bubsy.
Never but
I mean, if Bubsy was the only game that existed, Bubsy would be the greatest game of all time.
Hashtag never Bubsy.
Hashtag never Bubsy.
I played Arrow the Acrobat 1 and 2 recently.
Why?
Recently.
What?
Yeah, no, I don't think they're.
How's that bad?
Did you beat
How's that
them?
bad?
I had never played. No, I had never played them before. I just wanted to check them out.
Rystar.
But Arrow the Acrobat games, I don't think are very good.
No, they're not.
Rocket
the
Knight?
problem with that, and kind of Bubsy, is that the character is a little bit big and animated, so it feels like you can't see enough on the screen while you're moving around as Arrow. Do you feel that way?
That wasn't really the problem I had with me.
obscuring of stuff for me.
It's just a little generic, and there's a certain type of game from that era that just looks kind of cheap.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't need to talk about Arrow
Not
the
everything can be annoyed.
Yeah. Also, Rayman 3 HD with Games with Gold and quite an old school, quite a deep cut Medal of Honor Airborne
Well, what?
is on there. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the whole thing where like
Why-
it did
Maybe
the
the last-
PUBG thing before PUBG.
Maybe the last Medal of Honor before it was
that was-
rebooted into more of a modern thing.
Yeah, because the last one that sort of shuttered it was Medal of Honor,
The
not
Beard-
Hardline,
no,
the
the
Beardo
Beard
one.
one.
Yeah,
But even that was a more modern.
that was
based
modern. I mean,
setting.
you played a modern like.
Why did
Airborne is still a World War II.
Yeah, it's
setting.
World War II, and I remember it being. Its
they
interesting
bother?
mechanic was every mission starts with you
parachute in, but
jumping
it's-
out of a plane, and you can land anywhere in the map, and it sort of changes everything. So
That's
on
the only
paper,
PUBG aspect of it.
yeah. Oh,
Nothing
that's why I
else.
said that's what I meant when I said it's PUBG. Because you start everything by jumping out of a plane, but then the difference is when you land, PUBG is a good video game, and this one's not.
Well,
I don't think
Steven
I don't think
Spielberg
Airborne's
involved in that
bad.
series?
The original.
the original.
very
He
first
produced the
Medal of
original.
Honor.
You know in what way? Like I missed that.
I mean,
I wasn't playing games.
I mean, he was a producer. That was back when he had a partnership with EA doing stuff like this, and then he had.
Was that the Boom Blocks era?
Yep.
It was before
Blocks
Boombox.
was later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least 10 years before Boom
really
Blocks,
interesting.
but-
Yeah.
So he kind of did the story and stuff like that.
Well, I don't
it
know.
was.
He's probably, like you said, a
I feel
producer, so he's like sort of looking at it from.
I think
I
his
feel
level
like
of
he
involvement
made
was fairly
he
minimal.
made his level of involvement was making Save It Private Ryan and letting them
Yeah.
take things from it. I
Was
think.
this like his AI era?
No.
Yeah,
Well,
this would have been around
actually-
AI because this would have been late '90s.
Oh, that's what
So
you
what
mean.
else
did-
came out then?
Saving Private Ryan.
what do you mean? What else?
Okay, I guess it's directly related.
Oh no,
to that.
I think his involvement with the series is he
Gotcha.
made Saving Private Ryan,
Okay.
and then they're like, we want to adapt that into a video game, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Why didn't they
couldn't-
just call it Save? Why
Well,
did they
it
use
must have been a licensing issue or
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I missed all of that. That's cool history. I'd like to look into that.
Yeah,
He had that cancel game LMNO.
yeah, and then he had-
LMNO, I don't remember that.
yeah, that was
that weird alien dinosaur.
he along with Boom Blocks, he had a game called
But
Elemento, which is about
Boom
AI.
Blocks 1 and 2 are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really
and
good.
it's sad they're trapped on the console.
They
Put
can
them
come
on
back to
Switch.
now.
yeah. Yeah.
You got the
Bring-
you got
time to bring it
you
back.
can feel all the Boom Blocks.
Stop
I'm not gonna
making
do
Yeah,
that.
maybe that could work.
You can feel all the Boom Blocks.
You guys remember
Stop it.
Elebits?
Not down there.
Elements, yeah, I liked Elements.
It was at the launch, near launch of
Yeah.
the Wii.
Okay, I promised we would talk about PlayStation Vita, and the reason why it's back in the news is because somebody asked Andrew House, the Sony Interactive Entertainment president,
Oh yeah, that's a cool story.
about whether or not, in the wake of the success of the Nintendo Switch,
Mm-hmm.
would they reconsider a portable, a handheld device, maybe a hybrid device like the Switch.
Did you say hell yeah and crush a beer?
Yeah, slammed against his forehead. Yeah, he said that, except the opposite of that is what he said.
Hell no, and sipped a glass of.
No, it does not sound like they do plan on revisiting in the handheld space. Andrew House said the Nintendo device is a hybrid device, and that's a different approach and strategy. We have not seen that as being a huge market opportunity. And then he continues.
That's the problem. They didn't see it as a huge market. Now they're missing out.
He continues, the Vita experience was that outside of Japan and Asia, there was not a huge demand.
Yep.
The lifestyle shift toward the dominance of smartphones as the single key device that is always with you was the determining factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard that before.
What about a PlayStation Classic?
I would.
I mean,
I would
you
love a
have
PS1.
to think that Sony's thinking about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
If
more
they did
challenging.
internal-
Though.
Look at the incredible success of Crash Bandicoot this summer.
I mean, I think it is inevitable that next fall we're going to get an N64 Classic.
Yeah.
I don't think any. I
Well,
think it's
it does-
inevitable.
That's
Next
unlikely
summer-
for some reason, but if that's likely, then PS.
I think we'll get Game Boy first.
Oh, that'd be cute.
Would it be a
Just
handheld
the old, yeah, it's gotta be
that you can
handheld.
that you charge like via USB?
Yes.
But that's the thing is, I don't want a Game Boy one. Like I want a Game Boy Color and a GBA one. But I don't want a Game Boy one.
Yeah.
Wow.
David,
Also, what if
David
it-
knows some good Game Boy games.
What if it doesn't have a backlight?
What's the
You're just, like,
spirit
playing
game?
with the sun.
What's the spirit game with the gangster ghosts?
So good.
Octai.
no,
No,
Wait,
there's this game where
the
you're like a
original.
detective.
Oh,
and
Ghost Trick.
No.
stop it.
Game
He's
Boy.
talking about a
Dustin.
Game Boy game.
Black
Game
and
Boy.
white.
A black.
Do you
and
know
white
what the
Game
Game Boy
game.
is?
If this was 20 questions, I would get it. I can't remember
Avenging
what it's
Spirit.
called. Avenging Spirit.
Murdered Soul Suspect.
Man.
Geist.
Now you got
LA Noire.
visions of Game Boy Classic and Game Boy Advance Classic.
But they already said, like,
Spinning in my
it's
head.
funny that they were so open and upfront about it, but they said the NES Classic is returning next
Next summer, yeah, a year from now,
And so,
What if I have more
Classic will be
games in it?
well, I
Star
mean,
Fox
it'll be like a deluxe edition.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it will. I think it'll.
wireless controllers. Or
Cuckoo
something.
Land will be in
I
it
think
at
they'll
the
do
time.
longer controllers and like one or two.
Nobody
games.
wants to play Clue Land.
There is a cool
Dude, I like
canceled,
Cuckoo
not
Land.
canceled,
you
but
don't like
there's a
Cuckoo
cool
Land.
Yeah, I do.
Shigeru Miyamoto NES game that never came out here. That would be really cool to put in it. It's called,
Oh man,
it's called Devil World.
it came to me. They'll re-release the NES Classic with NES Remix built into it.
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait for NES Remix to come back for the Switch.
I want them to do
SNES.
SNES. I want them to do SNES.
Yeah,
SNES
SNES
Remix, sure. Remix it all.
Oh man.
Okay, whew, I'm getting excited. Let's
PlayStation
bring it
would be
down.
good. I would like PlayStation because I missed
too.
that
Dude,
era.
PS1, yeah.
And then I would also like an official Sega produced Genesis.
I mean, how crazy would it be if they cherry pick some of those Square games? You get Resident Evil 1, you
The
get Crash,
PS1, I don't want to
Spyro.
be. I don't want to rain on anybody's
Yeah.
parade. It is harder than it is for something like
totally.
this because as a CD-based system, those games had CD sound and FMV files that were just gigantic. So they have to figure out. They have to figure out the file size. Like it's a really
Could be a
tricky-
case of diminishing returns. Maybe there are only 10 games on it. I don't know.
But even on the N64, like they already like those games are like 32 megs, right? So it's not a problem on that console. I made that number up, but they're
You also you get into a weird licensing thing.
Might be
Like, can you release Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 with that soundtrack? Like,
no.
Yeah, probably not.
wow, Justin just definitively said no. If there's two things Justin knows, it's
Although,
no, you can't
what
release it,
happened when
and
they-
no
Crazy
firefighters.
Taxi.
Here.
What
did
happened
that.
when they did the HD version of Tony Hawk?
I think
They changed
completely changed the soundtrack.
Was that true?
It was
I
like
can't
when I
remember.
think they removed Offspring or Bad Religion from Crazy Taxi when they released it on
Do you know
iPhone.
they patched?
They didn't have any of the licensed music.
No.
I thought people just complained about that endlessly.
Rest in peace.
on
Offspring.
Steam, they patch old GTA games to like remove songs from the radio stations as the
funny.
licenses expire. It's like they just patch it and like Kanye's gone.
Really?
Yeah.
For GTA 5?
4 and 5, they occasionally like they had the license to use the song for like 15 years or whatever. And if you have the game on disc, fine, you have it. But if you buy it digitally, they're obligated to remove
That's
it.
the space they can't.
Half of
control.
my band is in another band that has a song in GTA 5, and I wonder if that's still in there. Because I think
trying
that
to
was
think
like
of
that
a
was
band.
good money for
I
it.
was trying to name a band from GTA 5.
Was
Yeah.
it Tupac?
Yeah.
It wasn't Tupac. It was
Half of your
nobody.
band. Half of your band is in Tupac.
All right, let's check in with the listeners.
Hey, listeners.
Listeners, remember you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, just like Steve in Pittsburgh did. And he says, "Thank you for bringing up Sinistar."
Okay, you're welcome.
That's the one that I haven't played since a Sega Genesis port that included Joust. It might have been a Williams collection release back then, but I do want to play that game again. I was too young, younger than 10 at the time, to appreciate it. Is it available anywhere else? And if not, if you could have one arcade port from that era ported, which one would you pick? I did some digging. The Midway Arcade Origins that was released for 360 and PS3 includes Sinistar, and that game is backwards compatible on Xbox One.
Oh, cool.
So you could play it there.
Yeah, those Midway collections, I already mentioned this show, strangely, are so good. That's how I experienced a lot of arcade games for the first time.
Me too, and the Namco collections too, out on the original PlayStation.
Yeah.
You remember
That's the first.
Those are
that's-
famous.
That's how I played Tower of Druaga.
Oh,
That game's so good. Remember the Namco Museum? I don't know if it was the first one or one of the sequels. Had like a 3D
Yeah,
museum.
museum.
You could walk around it and then like
Yeah.
walk up to the like arcade cabinet.
That's really cool.
And then it would go into like the emulation.
So cool.
The Namco Museum I had on PlayStation that included Miss Pac-Man included like a vertical monitor
Miss
mode.
Pac-Man.
Sorry.
But Ms. Pac-Man wasn't even a Namco game, so that's really cool because they kind of cut it out of their other collection.
It was on one of the Namco collections.
No, I'm sure it was. It's just like at some point that licensing got weird, or they kept leaving it out.
As for porting
Midway game.
an arcade game from the Sinistar era, Sinistar was out in 1982, so I would love Burger Time to come back.
Burger
also,
Time's really good.
also an 82 game.
I brought up last week too, but Robotron, I think holds
Yeah.
up
I think the
well.
same year. Also.
Yeah,
I was a big Tapper fan.
Tapper's really cool.
What year's Tapper out?
It's on brand. Marty.
83.
The original Tapper, not root beer
no,
Tapper.
No, that root beer Tapper. Don't drink soda.
Unless it's what about today it'd be not your father's root beer Tapper.
Ooh,
yeah.
I like it.
I wonder with 4K monitors if vector graphics can finally look good on televisions because they never look right. They look like vector is like a way to display something where it's drawn in basically math with like colored lines. It's not a regular television.
Yeah.
Only arcade machines, run those monitors and an oscilloscope. If you have science class right now, but they look different. They just look different than everything. And like if we can start imitating those, it would be really cool. But
Yeah, to play like the old Star Wars game.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Star Wars is just like a really amazing arcade game. It draws in 3D, like it's smooth as butter. It's so cool, and just looks like it's drawn with light.
Smooth as blue
Wahoo.
milk butter.
All right, this is Victor G in New York City, and he says, "Gonna get right to it. Ask you guys how you feel about the use of curse words in video games and curse words in general."
Great.
I'm a longtime listener. I've noticed in some episodes that their F-bombs, among other words, aren't bleeped. How is this
We try not to
decided?
swear. I swore on this episode.
How is this? See, I haven't even noticed. That's how it's decided. I just
I said the SHIT word earlier.
I just miss it or
We'll catch it in post.
not.
Or vote.
He says also tons of video games showcase cursing in its dialogue, be it part of a cutscene or just general banter between characters. Does this enhance your experience at all, or does it deter you from advancing in the game's story? Just to be clear, I'm not offended by curse words, and I happen to be a big fan of these sentence enhancers. I'm only curious to hear your opinions around the table. Thanks, guys. Keep the info and the laughs coming.
I think cursing works in any media when it makes sense. Like we don't need cursing in Mario. I don't need cursing in Zelda, but like in GTA, it totally makes sense. Like in a mature story, it absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
In bad writing, it stands out.
Oh, in bad writing, it
Don't you
stands
always
out.
notice that?
Like
when
in
they're overusing it.
in Life
Ugh.
is Strange, a lot of times there'll be scenes, and I'm like, that's not how anyone talks or uses swears.
Or bad like VO sessions.
Yeah, totally. But I don't know. I'm pretty-
It's funny. How about in like PG-13 movies where they're allowed one F-bomb?
one, yeah.
And it's like, how are they going to spend it?
yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're allowed. You're allowed.
And I don't know if it's the same
Yeah.
on television, but I'm
So-
watching The Magicians on television right now, which is on Sci-Fi, and so I don't know what the rule like. Is Sci-Fi allowed to do whatever they
You
want?
can
Are they
watch.
Still,
You can watch it uncensored.
are they? Well, it
It's-
is uncensored.
Okay,
I'm
so
just
you're probably
saying-
watching the uncensored version.
Was it censored on Sci-Fi?
Oh, yeah, just on broadcast.
But it wasn't with
Or not
beeps. They do like the sort of the silence thing, which is what I think Breaking Bad would do sometimes, or Mad Men.
When,
Yeah.
when it would air on AMC, they just like silence the
Yeah,
words.
or
When
like-
you, when you
like
watch
hip
it
hop
on,
songs in the 90s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you watch it on Blu-ray, you actually hear it.
Yeah.
And that's what I guess bringing it back around to video games. It's odd if it's like one. Like if that's the tone of the game, if it's GTA, then fine. And if it's not in there, it's fine. But if you hear a swear after like 10 hours of not hearing one, then it just seems odd.
I don't know. I think that's just like life in general. Of like, I don't know.
Sometimes you go 10 hours without hearing.
Sometimes
a
we do, and like we have to like. I think Damon, you amongst all of us at work, like you do so many of these giant live shows to where like don't swear during Comic-Con or E3 because that's you can't be like, oops, let's try it again. It's like, well, just don't do that.
Max tried that.
It's like being a teacher.
It's what?
It's like being a teacher.
Yeah,
You have
can't
to-
swear while you're teaching.
You can't be up there and
I
swear
think
ever.
that's the thing.
Unless you're a college professor, and then you can, and then you seem real cool.
Yeah, the coolest professor.
I think this job has like I can subconsciously turn on and off swearing
Yep.
just fine.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And then like when I'm hosting Pub Trivia, I can swear as much as I want. It's totally fine.
Like I thought about it the whole time I was swearing and I done this episode. And I was like, okay, I'm going to use this to make a point. I really did. I'm not joking. Like it wasn't like a slip up.
I have like a cuss meter. It comes up and I use the cuss.
Yeah.
As a father,
You have to build
Yeah,
up the
you have to
cuss meter
censor
before you
all
can
the time,
spend
too.
it.
you
Yeah.
learn real fast. That's why I say goodness gracious so much.
It's
Yeah,
interesting-
Zooks.
it is interesting that in PG-13 movies you get one F-bomb, but I don't know if if that works in games for in like T-rated games. Are you allowed one F-bomb?
Yeah, I don't
in
know.
the whole
if
game.
Language is more important than like violence.
Yeah,
Well, it's America, so nudity is most important.
that's
That
that's
is.
the worst thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
One thing that we talk about here's a little behind the scenes look at IGN. We cover a lot of media that might be violent or objectionable in many ways, and a lot of it has swearing in it, and a lot of it has things that are adult themes, and we cover those. Like we like them and we cover them, and sometimes we don't like them, and sometimes we're critical of them.
R-rated movies.
But that's what we cover. We'll show a clip of a game or a movie, and and when that's what our editorial kind of purview allows. But that doesn't mean we have to act that way, and in fact, we're not supposed to. So when we're presenting ourselves, we're not filthy people. We're definitely not all those other things. But we try not to swear in a lot of contexts, and the reason is because that's just we think we can express ourselves more clearly in other ways.
We're supposed to behave the same and use the same language, whether we're playing, Mario on a Let's Play or GTA on a Let's Play. Like the content of the game isn't supposed to inform
doesn't
our
affect-
behavior.
I did always
Good
find
way
it
to
funny
say it.
though because we were playing. I think we were streaming The Order 1886, and pretty early on in that game, you go to a brothel.
Yeah.
And just everyone's naked, and Max and I were like, "It's really funny that we can't swear. We can walk around this brothel as much as we want."
Ladies of the night.
Yeah.
Ladies of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I think I'm always into reaching wider and wider audiences, and there's a large audience of young people and people that are just that object to swearing that I totally want to reach.
It's
We
also
get letters every once in a while. It's like, I'm 11 and I love Scoop. And I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, or I've absolutely gotten letters from parents that say, I love listening to your show, but sometimes it's on when my kid's around. So if you could not drop those F-bombs, that would be great. And I totally get it,
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell your kids that we're villains.
We're the
Don't
bad
swear
guys.
like the villains, like the radio villains.
And I have some bad news. Your kids are playing GTA 5.
Yeah.
Because that's what all the kids are playing everywhere.
I also have some terrible news. At school, all the kids are swearing as well.
The Radio Villains is a really good name for something.
We're the radio villains.
and kids love Game of Thrones.
That'll
When I
be-
say that's
well,
crazy.
that can be the name of our mature podcast where we do swear a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, it'll just be
Do
called-
kids love Game of Thrones?
That's a thing, yeah.
I don't know if I
don't
would
know if
have been into it.
Guys,
as a kid.
I have a direct line to middle school.
Yeah.
The kids all know Game of Thrones.
All right.
But we also see it doesn't always perform in our Snapchat content.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Snack chat.
Because their parents are looking.
That's why. they're all-
Gotta get through. Go.
And that brings us to video game 20 questions. Our suggestion this week comes from Jack Martin in Charlton, Massachusetts.
Carlton, okay.
Let
Clue.
Charlton Chew.
the questioning begin.
Is it a part of the SNES Classic?
No.
All right, guys. That was a bad question to lead off with.
Big
You
ol'
eliminated 21 games.
I did. Justin.
Justin's just mad that you took away the first question from it.
Does this game take place on Earth?
Oh.
Unclear.
And we lost a question for that.
Just for the record, Tetris 1 is on Earth.
Yeah.
Because the rocket takes off at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Kremlin's in the background.
Yeah. But they change it to USA.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that doesn't.
This makes sense.
I'm listening to
alternate
Russian
history.
music this whole
Yeah.
time.
Is this a Japanese game?
No.
All right.
Is this game really. Oh, you go ahead.
Oh, okay, no, it's fine. You can go out of
Going
order,
it's
like a
we're
little
going
wheel.
counterclockwise.
Yeah.
this
We
time.
screwed up the order. Did this game come out before January 1st, 2000?
No.
Is this a current generation video game?
No.
All right. Well,
It's 5 questions.
Is this on the Nintendo Wii PS3 era of consoles?
those were.
Are those? No, those are right.
Yeah.
Wii and PS3 are right.
What was it?
No.
Wii U also
GameCube,
last year?
PS2.
What's up?
Last generation was Wii and Wii U, pretty much.
All right. Is this a console game?
And by do you mean was
Is
this?
it? Yeah. Is this only on consoles?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
It
guys, we know it's not one of these.
wasn't Japanese made, right?
No, it was not.
I mean, was this game developed in America?
No.
Good. That's really good.
Brazilian game, guys.
Is this a video game where you see your character on the screen?
No.
Ooh, it's got to be a first person. I'm looking through my eyes.
Could be second person. No, you'd still see your character on the screen.
Yeah.
Would be second person. Get
Is this from after? What's a good year to be
Like
after?
that Battletoads boss.
It's between 2000 and 2017.
No, it's not because it's not this generation. So it'd be 2000 to 2013.
Yep.
So should we ask after 2000? What year did Wii come out? 97?
Yeah, I mean you
Or
could say
2007?
see generation. Like, is this of the?
But he said it's on PC or it's not just on consoles. That makes
Yeah,
First person game developed in Europe.
you're assuming. Could
Well-
be. I mean, it could be Canada.
It's
Could be,
Ooh.
could be Ubisoft Montreal very easily.
It's not.
Ubisoft. Is the should we ask about sequels?
Yeah, is this part of a series?
No.
What?
It's gonna be. It's that shooter Red. What was it? Red.
13?
No, that was the line. Are you thinking of the cell shaded one?
Yeah.
13.
The one with David Duchovny? No,
Red-
Red 13 is the name of the. Isn't Red 13 the name of the lion?
No, just 13 is the
Oh,
name of the
yes,
game
that's
you guys are
right.
talking about.
You said red, and I was thinking of the lion
Oh.
from Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah. So was I. I was thinking Red 13.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, it's just 13.
Yes.
Just 13.
Oh, I feel like I've done that multiple times on this show.
Maybe.
Is this finally the episode where it's the single player the PS2 shooter Black?
Yeah, I know.
Where I think it's
That wasn't
Black.
on
That was Criterion.
And then every week I say it's PS2 exclusive, and every week a commenter says it was also.
Wait,
on
we
Xbox.
don't know if it's on Earth, though.
Should we ask if this was on PCs? Or if it was a console exclusive?
Why is it unclear if this is on Earth? That trips me up because if it's in space, it'd be like a blatant.
Is this of the PS2, Xbox, GameCube generation?
No. That's 10.
So we know then it's of the PS3 generation because it's not this gen, it's not that gen.
Zach and Wiki?
Wait, unless he's doing some like
It wasn't a
Perfect
console
Dark when it came
exclusive.
out. Like,
It's not a console exclusive.
oh, that's good. And okay, so PS3 generation, no sequels or not part of a series.
Not part of a series.
First person. We're assuming it's a shooter, right?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, by
What are
first
some?
Is it a shooter?
No.
Oh, that eliminates a lot of things I'm thinking of.
Can we narrow it down by company in any way, or does it not help that we know because publishers can be?
Well, so it's not Rare because it's not a console exclusive. So it's it's Ubisoft or I mean it's probably Ubisoft.
Wait.
What-
So wait.
We can ask if it's a Ubisoft.
We never said. So I asked if you could see your character, and he said no. That doesn't necessarily. If this is like a God game, you can't see your character.
What if or if you're
really
or if you're a ghost?
So we can go with genre.
Is this like a first person game? Like when I'm looking, does it look like a shooter but without the guns?
you wanna
ask
burn
if
the
it's-
question
ask
on
if it's
that?
played from a first person.
Is it first person?
I thought you already asked. That.
No, I didn't. I asked, can you see your character? But what I just realized is you can't see your character in SimCity.
But you're not a character.
Well, it can't be. You can't see your character in first person.
Wait, Damon, don't answer that. We need to rephrase the question.
You guys are just all over the place with this.
Well,
What are you talking about? We know it's not one of the 21 games
Yeah.
in the Nintendo Classic.
no, I mean because he's gonna pull some Dr. Robotnik's.
So,
mean
should we
Bean
ask if this
machine.
game's highly regarded?
I like the perspective question, but I just want to figure out the right way to put it. Yeah. So what did you say? Like if it's like a shooter,
Is this a first person game that looks like a shooter but without a gun?
Your question is this a first person game that looks like a shooter without a gun?
I'm
Yeah.
Marty.
I'm not agreeing to this question.
Well, 2 out of 3.
The answer is no.
Oh! So that's great. So it's not like Gone Home. It's not like some first-person Magic staff game.
Should we ask if it's a strategy game?
Yeah.
Is this a strategy game? That would help us.
That's not the bucket you would put it in, but strategy is involved.
Fuck. You're going to have to bleep that one.
Like that. Is it like a MOBA? It could be a MOBA. No, MOBAs are pretty
Katamari
big.
Damacy.
No, you can see that man. You can see that man's butt.
I'm really stuck up on it being unclear if it's on Earth or not. Like I don't know what to do with that. Like that answer.
I guess, is this game highly regarded? Is it a highly regarded video game?
Yes.
How many questions do we have left?
I mean,
I need to get this on a console. I
highly
can't
regarded
picture
can
it.
be like, let's just say it was
a good video game.
well reviewed.
Okay.
What, we need to ask if it's on just one. I need to get a library in mind here.
Yeah.
Sure. Was this on what
It was
generation?
the PS3 360 generation.
Was this on PS3?
Yes.
Okay, so it was on multiple things, including PS3. That means it's not like an Xbox weird PC crossover.
Sure.
And it's not American. It's not Japanese on PS3. Should we ask about developers?
I mean, so who's developing games?
Maybe Ubisoft.
Yeah, but if it's not them, I don't even know who's left.
EA.
No, but it's not made in America.
EA is companies that are.
Was it developed by Ubisoft?
Yes.
That helps us so much.
4 questions left.
To be able to get this.
Okay.
Tom Clancy's End War?
It might be Tom Clancy's End War, honestly. No, he said not part of a series. Well, I don't know if.
Strategy.
What's
What's a game by Ubisoft that's kind of has strategy stuff in it?
They didn't
You
do
can't
those.
see your
They
character.
didn't do those Middle Earth RTSs, did they?
No.
Which is,
Should we ask if it's based on a license?
I don't know.
Because Tom Clancy screwed us over that one time because it was a license.
Yeah, is this based on a license?
No.
Okay.
A Ubisoft original. We should be able to get this just from last gen.
There's Child of Light. There was Valiant Hearts. It's not part of a series, or not part of a series. So no AC, no Splinter Cell, no Far Cry, no Tom Clancy,
No King Kong.
no Peter Jackson's King Kong the movie, the game.
Wait, Child of Light wasn't that generation though, right?
Yeah, it was. Child of Light came out on the
last
PS3,
gen. End of last gen.
but you could see your character.
Good point.
sort of a not first person, but some sort of a strategy tactics ish game. Maybe did they make any puzzly games?
The Crew. I'm just thinking of their like.
You know Ubisoft. We're gonna.
I know
I
Ubisoft.
just wanna- In the PS3 era, they were doing Ubisoft the Ubisoft way too.
Oh yeah, they
weren't
were
that different.
they were cranking out. Yeah.
But this is on PC and PS3 and a bunch of things. Was there a Rayman spin-off in that era?
This could be Rabbids.
Rayman Rabbids.
Could
Yeah,
be a
the
weird.
Rabbids.
Could be a weird.
No, Rabbids is part of a license.
I don't think we call it.
It's
that.
part of a series,
What?
certainly.
Rabbids are absolutely licensed.
Well, but wait,
It's
it's
part
not a
of a
license,
series.
but it's a series. It's not licensed.
The Rabbids?
Yeah.
Yes, the Rabbids are licensed.
What are you talking about? That's just the Ubisoft.
Did you
name.
say-
Rabbids?
Table this. Would you say that the Rabbids are licensed? Like,
No, because then you'd have to say like
It's like
Mario.
saying Mario's.
yeah,
a
Mario's
license.
a license.
When we say licensed game, we mean like from a
based off
movie
another
or a
medium.
TV show. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, back in.
I thought you were going to try to tell me that the Rabbids had been like a comic book series for 20 years. Like
That
What?
is
All right.
true.
they did weird. I don't know if it came to other platforms, but they did like that weird DS stuff. They did like Rub Rabbids. Was that them? That was Sega.
What about Just Dance? Did we already say
That's
it's not part of a series though?
It's a series. Though. It's
Yeah.
a really good one.
Okay.
Um,
Did they do anything like that?
they did the Avatar game.
No, I think it's something like that. Did they do the Star Wars? No, they didn't.
No, they did Zombie U. They did
Zombie
the
U.
Rabbids, the Rayman games.
Wait. Why?
Zombie U, because if you, it looks like a first-person shooter without a gun. Also, it has a gun, so at certain points it just
Okay,
does
so
look
it's
like.
not Zombie U. But I thought for a second I thought we'd done it.
I'm feeling good about Tom Clancy's End War.
I think we've had that one before.
What is this game rated M? Or is it?
Whoa.
What?
That's, we only have one chance after this.
No, 2 chances.
Well, no one was saying anything.
No, one has to be the game.
No, we're at 17.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you have 2 guesses, 2
Plus the
questions and a
game.
guess.
Is rated M really going to help this?
I don't know.
I know. I think it's good. Actually,
anything?
I think that's a good question.
You want to ask if it's
Is it
rated M?
mature?
No. Two questions left.
So he knew that off the top of his head, so it has to be like a kiddie game. You know? You know what I mean?
They did Prince of Persia's back then,
Yeah, there's tons of Prince of Persia.
They
Isn't those
did.
are first person?
and they're also parts of big franchises. What's like a Ubisoft? I kind of want to know like if the game flopped. It surely flopped because if it sold well, they would have made more.
Yeah,
But he said it
Ubisoft.
was critically well.
Yeah, but Ubisoft is they churn those games out.
Yeah.
Oh, and it wasn't developed here. And there's a lot of Ubisoft games that were developed here.
Well,
So it
not-
has to be one of their weirder studios.
No, I mean I
Not
think it
something
just
in
could be
America,
Montreal.
though. Yeah. Well, yeah. Or
What does
I mean, the
Montreal
only
do?
U.S. game during that generation was Rocksmith, so it's not
That's it.
Rocksmith.
so
It's
they
not
did.
Rocksmith.
I can't think. I mean, they did. Like, there've been a million Assassin's Creed spin-offs, some of which were more strategy-ish, but it's
Part of
part
series.
of a franchise.
This is awful. I don't even know this game.
Nope, I
don't
don't
like
like it. I don't like it. I feel like we have all the parts that we need.
I don't think we know what the perspective of this game is.
Damon, do
I
you
don't know
think
if
we
I'm
know
here.
what the perspective?
I don't know. Am I here? Am I here?
All right, so you can't see your character, so that means
And it's not played from like a first-person style perspective. So that means it's like a god game.
did Ubisoft do like Disney Tetris in that time?
Wait, did Ubisoft do that game by Eric Chahi?
Who's that?
He was the guy who did Out of This World and Another World. And then he did that game with them that was God. It was top down, and you were doing God things. And I can't remember what the name of it was. And I think you were doing some like terraforming.
Black and white?
It was like that, but it also came to consoles.
Are you thinking of Godus? That was
No, I'm
pretty
not thinking of
violent.
Godus. Is it the game possibly made by Eric Chahi, whose name I
What's
don't-
the strategy thing should help us too with
Yeah.
that.
I legitimately think it might be this, although it's like a weird deep cut.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Yeah, but Damon's been doing
Is
that.
it
to
rated
us.
mature?
I don't think so.
No, it's not.
I think it would be like an
I
E10
don't
or
even
a
know what you're
teen.
talking about. I can't even think of the
This
game.
game came out in like probably 2010 or 2011. It came out around the same time Ubisoft did Outcast, which was that side-scrolling game where you swapped between two colors. And you
Would
had the
that
two
be
powers. No, because it's you can see your character.
This is crazy, guys.
Yeah.
I think we spent, I can't think of what the name of that game is, and it's probably not even that game.
Mitchell, are you gonna help us with this?
No,
No, you're supposed to tell us.
Wait, do you have like? Is it a
How would that
dancing game?
Are
help?
you're asking me if it's a dancing game?
I don't
No,
think it's
I
going to
don't
be a
think-
dancing game because it's part of a series.
Yeah.
Was
Well,
there-
what other dancing games are there?
Well,
There's
I mean,
Just
there's
Dance
several
Video.
Just Dance games. They dance
Oh, yeah,
every year.
there's that.
All right.
What about the Rabbids angle?
I don't know.
It's part of a series. This was a one.
I don't know. I think it's the Eric Chahi game that may or may not exist.
This is so embarrassing.
I don't have anything. I don't have anything.
We've been on a losing
I don't have
streak.
anything. It's a multiplayer.
Nope.
All right. It's the Eric Chahi game that I don't know about. That's my guess. What's your guys' guess?
And War.
What's my guess? You want to go with End War?
No, for us being dumb, we all get one guess. He gets End War. I get Eric Chahi's game that
That's
may
a
not
license,
exist.
though, Justin, so it can't
I
be
know.
that. He's giving up.
This is it. We're throwing in the towel.
I still think it's Eric Chahi's game that may or may not exist. Also, might not even be Eric Chahi. Also, that might not even be a real name.
Is it Beyond Good and Evil?
I don't know.
Oh, Marty, if only you could have remembered the name. From Dust.
From Dust, it was the Eric Chahi game where you wound up down to do things with the world.
I think we got that one.
Wait, that game came out?
2011 God game
That's exactly what
where
it was.
you manipulate the ground to shepherd your flock to the safety.
You did a good job with this, Marty.
I'm going to
proud.
count it as a win.
It's not a win. We need a name. You can't just say, it's that game made by Nintendo starring the plumber.
I get
You
From
nailed
Dust.
that, Marty. I think
I
you did a
can
really
play
good job.
From Dust with Wild in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Wild is not out.
Wild is not out.
Who made
Paris
From
Games Week.
Dust?
It's
Eric Chahi.
Ubisoft. And
Yeah.
And
if that's how you
who is
pronounce
it?
it.
Eric Chahi was the guy who.
Stop saying that name.
He was
What's
the guy-
developer?
Yeah, I just said Ubisoft.
I know, but they have like a million studios.
No, the thing was, it was associated with Eric
developed.
Chahi, who did. Was I right when he was the guy who did Another World? And
That sounds right.
I think so. I think
Another
that's
World-
why I know his name.
Yeah, Another World guy was French. So.
From Dust, I remember that game now. It was.
It was like a man out of mask.
It was
on
a really
cover.
cool game. IGN gave it an 8.5. Keza
Anthony
McDonald.
reviewed it.
Yeah.
And Keza McDonald.
Keza reviewed
Yeah,
it.
reviewed that one. It was a really cool game. It came out on, I think, Xbox, PS3, and PC.
Might have been like a
2011.
Summer of Arcade game, like around the same time as like
If there was-
Bastion.
that would have been like right at the
Right
tail
at the tail
end
end,
of
yeah.
Summer of Arcade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you were close. You almost got there this week.
Give myself a quarter of a point.
Yeah, that works. Wow.
Michael Jackson, The Experience. I forgot that existed.
Yeah, I did too.
That was the one with the vuvuzelas.
That was the one with the vuvuzelas.
What do you? I don't even know that joke.
If you so that was right around the time of the South African World Cup, where if you remember, there was the controversy over the vuvuzelas that made that terrible.
Everyone would just bring that horn and it would just
that
clip it.
game's anti-piracy measure was I don't know how, but if it detected that you were playing a pirated copy, not a legitimate copy, it just had that droning vuvuzela noise in the background of all the songs.
Well, it's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It's a pretty good anti-piracy measure. Thanks for the suggestion, Jack Martin in Charlton, Massachusetts. If you have your own suggestions, email them to me at gamescoop@ign.com. None of these guys have access to that email account, so it'll be.
I would have got
safe
this
with
one
me.
right if I did.
Yes.
If you'd remembered the name in the time that you read it between then and now.
From Dust, a very cool game that's kind of. I think.
Lost
I think it might have been resurfaced in like a PlayStation Plus one of those months.
Yeah, I could see that.
One of those times. It's good. Everybody have a fun weekend playing games. If you manage to get an SNES Classic, get your hands on one. If it'll fit in your pocket.
Totally fits in your pocket.
And when next we meet, it will be when next we meet. It will be October, which means we'll get to revisit the retro gaming magazine rack and see what was going on in the past of some October. But that's all the scoops we have for this week. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Damon.
My name is Damon. This is IGN Game Scoop, and we're out.